This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Alrighty, welcome to the Farm Monitor. So glad you tuned in. He is Kenny, I am Ray, and this is what's coming up. Mr. B.
Another packed show, that's what's coming up. Straight ahead, now that storm relief funding has been set aside for Georgia, what's next and how soon can farmers expect it to arrive? Also on the program, with 4th of July just around the corner, expert foodologist Marcia Crowley whipping up some quick and easy recipes that you can serve at your Independence Day bash.
Plus, for you weekend farmers, are you frustrated with those tomatoes not the size you had hoped for, or maybe they've been hit by disease? Well, there's a very good reason for it and a very simple solution to the problem. Extension Corner and so much more starts right now on the Farm Monitor. Well, as you know, on June 6th, President Trump put pen to paper authorizing $19.1 billion in disaster aid for areas affected by hurricanes and other recent natural disasters, $3 billion of which has been set aside for agricultural relief. The word relief, however, an understatement, especially for farmers in South Georgia who say the money can't get here quick enough.
I mean, we've had some wind downbursts before that damaged small areas, but I mean, this has affected us in so many ways, and we're still finding stuff that I didn't know that got damaged. We didn't lose a pivot irrigation system, but apparently they all got bounced around. We've had more trouble with irrigation systems this year than we've ever had.
Here on our farm, about 50% of the farm sustained at least 50% damage. The other 50% was anywhere from 10 to 40%. So we had farms that we never harvested, and we had farms that harvested roughly 80% of what they normally would.
Between my brother, son, and me, we grow about 1,100 acres of cotton. We did not gather a single acre. Hurricane Michael picked it better than a John Deere round bale picker will pick it. We had a tremendous trees down, longleaf timber that had been there since the undergrowth of the original pines, gone. All the low areas, oaks down everywhere. I lost every farm building that I own. Some of them my granddaddy built, some of them my father built, and one of them I built, a 150-foot metal equipment shelter, and it just gone. It's affected us in so many ways. You can't replace in a short period of time what took lifetimes to build.
Even though it's been 6 months, it's still, the effects are still with us today. We're still working with our bankers, and luckily most of the bankers in the area have been willing to work with us, knowing that this was out of our control, that we had a crop that was once in a lifetime, and we were unfortunately unable to harvest that. But they're definitely working with us and trying to keep us going, even though we've had to roll some debt and things like that. Yeah, the financial implications have definitely been tough, but by far the emotional side of it was the worst. You wake up one day and you go to the field and see basically nothing left. So you've got a year of hard work and sacrifice for nothing. Then you've got to go to your family and try to figure out how you're going to move forward and start talking to those bankers and having the conversations you've never expected. So that's definitely the hardest part.
It'll go towards debt that we already have accumulated, but hopefully we can build this shelter, at least put our stuff back under a shelter. It won't go towards new equipment or anything like that. There'll be a hole for it. It will turn over in our community.
So at this point in the year, the government assistance has taken roughly 6 months. Which puts us right in the middle of planting season. Most of us are finishing up planting right now, which is where the bills get the worst. We've got all of our inputs for fertilizer, land rent, seed, and chemicals. It's all out. So this aid coming right now, if we can get the aid in the next 60 days, it'll really help us to pay back down on those line of credits, firm up some relationships with our bankers, and let them know that we're now going to be able to make it to the end of the year and hopefully get back whole.
Well, talk about a quick response. Less than 24 hours after President Trump signed that relief bill, ag leaders were already meeting with Georgia farmers, assuring them of plans to do everything in their power to get their money as quickly as possible.
If there's anything good about having two disasters in a row, is that we have a framework at USDA. I'm hopeful we'll have this program implemented in weeks, not months, and hope to get the money in the pocket sooner rather than later. It's been long enough, and that's what I'll commit to you today.
Well, let's face it, farming isn't the easiest occupation, and to many people's surprise, it can be difficult to get into if you haven't been around it all your life.
True, but to ease the pain, USDA has a program that recruits, retains, and supports new farmers and ranchers. John Holcomb reports.
It's no secret that the average age of a farmer is 58 years old, and that people are becoming more and more removed from the farm. And as that happens, that skill set isn't passed along. And as you would imagine, people that are wanting to get into farming may not have a clue of what they need to do. That's where the USDA's Beginning Farmers and Ranchers program comes in.
We define a beginning farmer as someone who has farmed a ranch for 10 years or less. And with that being said, a beginning farmer has some different incentives to get involved in the farming and ranching versus non-beginning farmers.
Some of those incentives include things like waiving of administrative fees on crop insurance, increased cost share assistance, waiving of fees for the non-insured disaster assistance program, and more. One thing they don't do, though, is give away free money.
One of the biggest misconceptions is that the USDA provides grants for production agriculture. As far as I know, we do not provide any type of monetary assistance in the form of a grant that will allow you to go out and purchase inputs for farming, examples being feed, seed, fertilizer, chemicals, fuel, equipment, things of that nature. We have loan programs for that.
However, one thing that isn't a misconception is the challenges that all farmers must face, whether you're starting out or if you've been doing it for a while.
First, being able to find that land that you're able to farm and ranch on. Second, being able to find the capital to finance those operations. And once you can cross those two hurdles, you're in a pretty good position to go ahead and get started.
And once you get started, there's also the fact that farming is a lot of work and isn't your typical 9-to-5 job.
Farming and ranching is hard work. There are no set hours to this business. There are going to be some early rising in the morning, some late nights. Who knows what goes on the farm, whether it be a down irrigation system, it doesn't rain, too much rain, you got mechanical breakdowns. Those things are very demanding and requires a lot of hard work. So if you're not committed to being in this thing 100%, I advise you to find something else to do.
But if you can find the resources and have the will to do it, Brooks says that coming to them with a good idea of what you're wanting to do is a good place to start.
First, I would suggest that you have an idea of what you want to do, what type of farming and ranching you want to become involved in, whether it be traditional row cropping, or you want to do small fruits and vegetables, or you want to do livestock, you want to do aquaponics, hydroponics, something of that nature. At least have an idea of what you want to do before you come into the door with us.
From there, Brooks says they can guide you in the right direction of what you need to do, as long as you realize one thing.
It may be rocky in the beginning, but if you're willing to put in the work and do the things that you need to do, success may be at the end of the road.
Reporting in Kathleen for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Now, after the break, some important business to take care of, and that's food. Recipes for your 4th of July party. Meals from the Field is next.
Hi, I'm Ivy Cook, and I'm serving as the secretary of the Georgia FFA Association. FFA is a big tradition in my family. My aunt, my uncles, my cousins, and brothers has all been active in the FFA. And so seeing how the FFA changed their life made me want to get involved and see what opportunities the FFA had for myself. I think you need to take the chance and get involved into the FFA. It has done so much for me. And I used to be a shy girl. I would not talk to anyone. And the FFA allowed me to step out of my comfort zone and meet so many people across the nation. And I think that you need to take that risk, no matter if you're scared or not, and find out what the FFA how it can change your life and what it can offer for you.
To learn more about the National FFA organization, log on to ffa.org.
Well, I'll tell you what, whoever coined the phrase, there are no guarantees in life, obviously they did not know Marsha Crowley. Because I'll tell you what, one thing that there is guarantee, you are guaranteed to enjoy any kind of recipe that she makes.
Well, thank you.
Welcome back to another edition of Meals in the Field. And yes, joining me as always, my friend and partner in crime, Marsha Crowley. Good to see you again, Marsha. And as we said, by the way, thank you for wishing me a happy birthday before I came in. She wished me a happy 50th birthday. Thank you so much.
You're not quite as old as America.
No. But yes, we are celebrating another birthday today, and that is America's birthday, 4th of July. So we have some good recipes that you've actually created. Yeah, you always have good recipes. Always have good recipes, and we're actually pulling one out of the archives that was a fan favorite that we're going to do again. Yep. So let's go ahead and get started.
It's a tomato pie.
Okay.
And every Southern cook needs a tomato pie recipe, and this is a really good one. All right, you have a deep dish pie crust, and you bake it according to package directions, or you can make your own, and you know I don't do that. So, and this is 3 large tomatoes that have been drained in a colander because you want to get some of the juice out of it with a little bit of salt. And this is, I did drain it, but obviously not that good. Spread that in the bottom of the baked pie shell. Yeah, I think we did this maybe 3-4 years ago. And I make it every summer, a couple of times.
They all start running together after a while, Marsha.
Well, you know, some are just better than others. All right, you get the idea there. I don't want to get all that juice in there. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way.
Okay.
You're going to top that with 1/4 cup of chopped onion, and these happen to be Vidalias because they're in season. But you don't have to have a Vidalia onion. I'm going to give that to you. And then you're going to top that with 9 chopped fresh basil leaves, which, you know, if you have a garden, you might have basil in there. That's really good. All right, then you're going to top that with salt and pepper. And I didn't spread that out real good, but oh well. Okay, and I had a spoon. I don't know what I did with it. There it is.
Something is ready.
Something
the alarm
is
just
ready.
went off.
And this is a combination of half a cup of mayonnaise, a cup of cheddar cheese, and a cup of mozzarella cheese. And you're going to just spread this on top of the tomato pie.
Okay.
And in the real world, you're going to spread it to the corners, but in the essence of time, we'll get that later. Then you're going to bake this at 350 for about 20 minutes until the cheese starts to melt and it gets warm. And I'm telling you, it's a treat, and it's good leftover.
Now, do you want to spread the cheese out?
You want to spread that out
Okay.
to the corners of the crust.
To the corners of the crust, okay.
Yeah, that
as
would.
you said. All
In the
right.
essence of time, we're not going to.
And we're going to speed things up to the next
Yep.
recipe.
All right, this next one is an orzo salad. And for those of you that don't know what orzo is, or you've seen it in a recipe and it's intimidating because you don't know what it is, it's rice-shaped pasta.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is, rice-shaped pasta. You cook it just like you do regular pasta with a little bit more salt.
All right.
All right, this was a cup of uncooked, so this made about 2 cups, I guess. All right, you're going to add to that a 1/2 cup of red onion. Here again, you could use Vidalia onions. I just did this for color. 1 squash, raw. And people have squash in their garden now. 1/2 of a large cucumber. They have those in the garden now, hopefully. A little jar of pimento, only because we put pimento and stuff in the South because it's colorful. If I can get that out of there. I think I can. And you know, you could use red pepper, red bell pepper in here or leave it out or whatever. This is a very versatile recipe.
All right.
And these are frozen sugar snap peas. The fresh ones are like $9 a pound, and that one's not going there.
No.
So these are frozen thawed sugar snap peas, and this really adds a lot of flavor to this. And then you're going to add.
You put a lot of stuff over here. You're trying to tell me when
I'm
they
trying
do
to
dishes
tell you,
after
yeah,
this?
you get to do
You're
the
gonna make me
dishes.
work?
Yeah, you get to do dishes today. And this is tarragon and fresh chives.
Okay.
Like 2 tablespoons of each. And I've made this and I've put shrimp in it. I've put asparagus in it, but we don't grow asparagus in Georgia. And the dressing is lemon zest, lemon juice, and olive oil.
All right. Go ahead. Give it to me.
There you go, there you
I'm
go.
gonna add
You
that
better
to my
get
watch
busy.
list.
And you can make this ahead of time. Like I said, it's really good with shrimp in it or chicken, or you could swap out the vegetables. But the orzo is, if you haven't tried it, it's worth a try.
I wish you could literally smell the
It's
freshness.
the fresh herbs.
Gosh, that is awesome. Yeah, there you see the finished product there. Here, you might actually be able to smell that through your TV.
You might be. Smell-o-vision.
Good one, I like it.
All right, the last one is a red, white, and blue salad.
All right.
So we've got 2 cups of fresh watermelon, and I put them in balls, or you can cut them in squares, or I think I saw somewhere where you could do them in a star shape, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. So this is a half of a Vidalia onion sliced, which you wouldn't think onion and blueberries and watermelon would go together, but it's really good.
That's awesome.
This is a half a cup of Georgia blueberries. All that's in season. Then we've got a cup of homemade croutons, and you just buy, this is ciabatta bread, which you can get in the deli, and you just put it in the oven for a couple minutes to kind of crisp it up.
All right.
So there's that. Whoops, try not to break anything. This is basil and mint, feta cheese, and you're just going to serve that. Put a little store-bought balsamic vinegar over the top and serve it, and it's really delicious. Those are strange ingredients together, but it's really good.
Good stuff, and there you see the finished product there. And of course, folks, we hope that you have a safe and happy 4th of July. And if you would like to create these recipes for your guests on 4th of July, you can do so by logging on to farm-monitor.com. Head on over to the recipe section. Again, we've got a lot of good recipes. If maybe this stuff isn't your thing, you want some other ideas, plenty of stuff on
There's
there.
a ton of recipes. We've done a lot of recipes.
Yes, we have.
Man.
We have done our job, and I have to do my job by doing dishes right now because she just put me to work. So anyway, Marcia, good to see you
Thank you,
again.
Ray.
As always,
Happy
you have
4th.
a safe 4th of July. You as well. We'll see you next month. Well, before the break, Marcia and I showed you that incredible tomato pie recipe.
But what about the main ingredient? Here's this month's Extension Corner.
Hi, I'm Paul Pugliese with the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension. We get a lot of calls about planting tomatoes every spring. The first question people always want to know is, when can I plant? And the most important thing to consider as far as planting tomatoes and other warm season vegetables is the soil temperature. Really and truly, you need a 65-degree soil temperature in the springtime before you can plant those tomatoes. In North Georgia, we may not hit that ideal soil temperature until the last week of April in most years. So make sure you have warm soil, because if those plants sit in cold, wet soil, they'll rot and they'll get disease and other problems. So timing is so important if you're going to plant these types of vegetables. Once you decide it's time to plant, you need to consider the spot that you're going to plant those tomatoes in. Raised bed gardens are actually a great way to plant tomatoes. It provides a good area for well-drained roots. The roots need to be well-drained. You need a spot that has full sun, so at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. If you got shade, you're not going to be able to grow vegetables, any vegetables for that matter. One other thing to consider before you plant is doing a soil test to check the pH of that soil. Most of our vegetables need a high pH of around a 6.5 pH. And if you need to add limestone to that soil, it'd be actually ideal to do that 4 or 5 months prior to planting those tomatoes. So fall is actually a good time to do your soil test and decide whether or not you need to do those soil amendments. The next thing you need to consider as far as tomato selection is the variety. And if you're going to plant, make sure you get a good variety. There's a lot of good hybrid varieties nowadays that you can look at on the market that have good resistance to disease problems. One of the disadvantages of living in Georgia is we have very long, hot, humid summers, and sometimes we have a lot of rain. And that's going to invite a lot of disease problems in those tomatoes. So do your homework and check the tags on those plants at the garden center. If you look at the back of the tag, it'll actually have these little letters or codes on the tag that'll tell you what diseases it's resistant to. So sometimes you'll see a V, F, N, A, and they all stand for different diseases like verticillium wilt, fusarium wilt, nematodes, tomato spotted wilt virus, and a big one for Georgia is the A for alternaria disease or early blight. That's the #1 disease that we see on tomatoes here in Georgia. So again, make sure you get a good variety. If you don't, you're going to have a lot more challenges later in the season managing those diseases. Once you select a good variety, some of the varieties I like, in this case, this is a celebrity tomato. Mountain Pride is another one that has good disease resistance. Once you select that variety, then you need to prepare your site for planting. The nice thing about tomatoes is it's one of the few plants that when you plant, you can actually plant them really deep. So you could take off the lower set of branches on a plant like this, just pinch it off, and you can actually plant it as deep as you want. You can't do that with most other plants or other vegetables for that matter, but with tomatoes, they'll actually put out roots all along that stem, which means it'll do really well, especially in a long, hot summer if it turns dry. So when you prepare that planting bed, make sure you incorporate a lot of good topsoil. About 6 to 8 inches deep is what we like to see in that raised bed garden, and that'll give you a nice deep root system for that tomato plant. When you're ready to plant, you pull the pod out, or pull the pod off of the roots, I should say. Just slip it off and make sure you hold the crown of that plant, don't hold it by the stem, and carefully slide it out. And this plant's ready to go into the ground and deep it and put it in way deep in the bottom of that hole. And again, we can plant them deep and backfill around that. And make sure you loosen up any of the clods that you have as far as soil, and make sure it's nice and loose when you backfill around that plant. All right, so when you get your tomato in the ground, make sure you have mulch ready and newspaper to put down as a weed barrier. I like to put down 1 or 2 sheets of newspaper and then pile my mulch on top of that. 2 or 3 inches of mulch is ideal to keep the moisture in and again cut down on those weed issues. It'll also cut down on some disease issues having mulch around your tomatoes. Ideally, you want to use something like a straw mulch. It could be pine straw or wheat straw, but don't use hay because hay might have herbicides in it that might carry over and affect your tomatoes. Then as far as fertilizer is concerned, a small raised bed like this doesn't require a whole lot of fertilizer. In fact, the recommendation is about 1 pound, which is equal to 1 pint of fertilizer per 100 square feet. This bed is barely 50 square feet, and so we can use about a ½ pint of fertilizer to fertilize this entire raised bed garden that we have here. So a ½ pint for 50 square feet, and this is something that you would need to add to your soil every 3 or 4 weeks during the growing season. So start off with a starter fertilizer or a liquid fertilizer to get it going, and then continue to add that fertilizer every 3 or 4 weeks. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to call your local county extension office or go to our website at ugaextension.com. We have hundreds of publications on vegetable gardening and more information if you're interested.
Paul, thank you so much. And as always, thank you for watching the show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.
Have a good one.